All right, we have more changes unfolding in the Golden State. Changes that have the crazy policies coming out of California continuing one bad policy after another, all of which seem to be based around one thing, have one single idea: control. Control what you do, handcuff you, do what we say is okay and nothing else. Well, the latest idea is completely insane. In fact, it's straight out of the WEF Great Reset Handbook. This policy was proposed by the WEF in 2023. They started rolling it out in some European countries this year, but no politician in the States dared touch this until now. But before we get started, thank you for liking and sharing these videos. It really helps out the channel. And consider subscribing so you don't miss these regular updates. So 4 years ago, California Governor Gavin Newsom unveiled the Bullet Train. 4 or 5 years ago, a high-speed railway system. The plan, as Newsom hailed it, was to build public transportation for the 21st century, a system that would run from San Francisco to LA in under 3 hours, reaching speeds of over 200 miles an hour, modeled, by the way, after China's high-speed rail, who Gavin looks up to. But unlike China, who actually completed their project in record time, Gavin Newsom's project failed. It cost California upwards of $16 billion, and in the end, the project was scrapped. This is what the governor said 5 years ago. Watch this.
Abandoning the high-speed rail entirely means we will have wasted billions and billions of dollars with nothing but broken promises, partially fulfilled commitments, and lawsuits to show for it.
Well, 5 years later, what we're left with is 600 meters of steel framing in the Central Valley. That's it, 600 meters of railway just sitting there, not usable, useless. And $16 billion later, the state now is stuck in a $55 billion deficit, on the verge of bankruptcy. And mind you, California has the highest state income taxes in the country at 14.4%. It's got the highest sales tax in the country at 7.25%. Highest gas tax at 78 cents a mile. So why then, how is California in this position? Why, after all that money it takes from us, does the state rank third worst in the country for road quality? All that money you give them, and they're at the bottom of the list, 47th out of 50 of states for road quality. Well, it's the same reason why California spent that $16 billion to build a high-speed railway system, and they let the project implode. Incompetence and corruption. So how do they plan to get us out of this mess? I'll let you guess, folks. Even more taxes. But this time they may have gone one step too far. Gavin's new plan, the Dems' new plan to save California, is to charge drivers by the mile. Not just a gas tax, but a road tax. Every mile you drive in California will soon cost you. This isn't just an idea, by the way. This is about to get rolled out, and it gets worse. How do you think they plan to track this? How will they know how many miles you drive on California roads? How do you think? Forced GPS integration. Talk about Big Brother, folks. People always said that California would tax the air that we breathe if they could. That was the running joke. These people are relentless, and the crazy thing is they're going to get reelected. We'll look at this proposal in a second, how they plan to require all new cars sold in California to be integrated with the state. How, if this passes, all new cars sold will have GPS integrated with state headquarters and in real time, by the way, for new cars. But real quick, there was a time when the majority of Californians were civil libertarians and would never allow something like this to stand. They'd throw Gavin out of office at the snap of a finger if he was inserting himself into their private lives. But today, far too many Dems put their trust in government, believing and obeying, never questioning authority or standing up to power. The government is to be trusted, right? Even questioning the state makes you a right-wing extremist. We all saw how far they'd go during the pandemic, the state inserting themselves into virtually every aspect of our private lives, mandating when you could leave your house, who could visit you at your house, where you could go, arresting people walking on the beach mandating the vax, and a majority of Californians just followed along. Not everybody, but the majority did, even turning their neighbors and friends into authorities for breaking these ridiculous rules. Well, now they're leveling up, going one step further, allowing the government to literally track our every move. No warrant, no probable cause, for the simple reason that they can, and because they know that the people won't stand up against it. All of it right in line with the mandates that we saw during COVID. So check this out. Caltrans, California Department of Transportation, has an entire website just for this new plan called CaliforniaRoadCharge.com, CARoadCharge.com, explaining why they're planning to do this, how they have to do it, they say, and how it's going to work. Wait till you see this. Look at this. What is the road charge, they say? Quote, road charge is an alternative funding mechanism that allows drivers to support road and highway maintenance based on how many miles they drive instead of how many gallons of gas they use. Just like you pay your gas and electric bills based on how much of these utilities you use, a road charge, also called a mileage-based user fee, is a fair and sustainable way to fund road maintenance, preservation, and improvements for all Californians instead of paying the state's gas tax, which disproportionately impacts those who cannot afford more fuel-efficient vehicles. Everyone would pay a per-mile fee for how much they use the road, regardless of what kind of car they drive, unquote. So let me get this straight. The state of California has been on a 24/7 marketing blitz for the last 5 years, longer, to convince you to trade in your gas vehicle for an EV, even offering rebates, tax incentives if you do. That plan has thus worked so well that now too many Californians are skirting by the gas tax. They say if you drive an EV, you don't pay the gas tax, right? Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't that part of the promise for buying an electric vehicle in the first place? So they hoodwink you into getting rid of your gas vehicle by playing up all the money you're going to save. Then once they accomplish their goal, they end up charging you anyways. Pretty sure a lot of people, if they knew about this in the first place, they never would have traded in their gas vehicle, right? And they write this on their website, quote, California leads the nation when it comes to driving more fuel efficient and zero emission cars. That's a good thing, they say. However, because these cars consume less or no gas at all, funding highway and road repairs based on a gas tax no longer works. Even if we keep increasing the gas tax with fewer Californians buying gas, the funding will eventually disappear. California needs to replace the gas tax with a funding system that supports our state's transportation future, unquote. And the scariest part about this, how they plan to track your miles. Well, if you have an older vehicle that doesn't have its GPS integrated, they're going to send you a plug-in device to upload your data to them. Quote, plug-in device. A device will be shipped to your home with instructions on how to plug it into your vehicle's OBD2 port, typically located under the steering wheel. If you choose to use GPS location data, this option will report any miles driven out of state on private roads or on tribal roads, unquote. For newer vehicles and all future cars, well, it's called vehicle telematics. Quote, vehicle telematics. This option is available for newer vehicles that have a connected vehicle account through the auto manufacturer. Tell me, folks, what do you think they plan to use this data for? Do you see them stopping with the road charge? Government has no business knowing where, when, or how you drive. This is China-level Big Brother at work. And remember, all of this because they can't afford to fix our roads. Why? How? Does every other state afford it, but California can't? Californians are forced to pay double the average state tax. It's insanity. They spend our money foolishly, get themselves into this mess, and their solution, take more money out of our pockets. Something needs to change in California.